Favorite band, talking about music?
I grew up listening to classic hip-hop, to reggaeton, being in Miami, you know, Proyecto Uno and Pitbull, and to, you know, diverse interests, I'll admit, maybe even some Taylor Swift here and there, you know, it's... If it sounds good, I'm happy with it, yeah.
Taylor Swift. You lost your cool with me, dude.
Wynwood is an enclave in the northern end of Miami that has become an example of what happens when art, investors, food tech, and lifestyle converge to create a fusion of culture that support and enable creativity, possibility, and connectivity. Science and romance are not mutually exclusive. Sure, they both do fine by themselves, but when you combine art and science, an environment that sincerely supports both, you get places like Wynwood.
Art starts in blighted areas. We start painting, the guys start painting everywhere, and then brings in the attention of the developers.
The developers. In every story, especially a love story, there needs to be an antagonist that preys on the romantics. They are here for one reason and one reason only: to buy, build, occupy and displace the natives, and sell and accommodate those who want to consume the new vibe.
I moved into Wynwood in 2001, and we are in 2019. It's been 18 years, and in 18 years, I've seen this place change quite a bit.
It used to be all Koreans, Haitians, and island people. Now who's there? It's high-end restaurants, with a coffee shop, stuff like that.
Surgery of any type is really an art. It's left in the hands and the minds of the operator. When you introduce a robot to a surgical procedure, you democratize the procedure, and you take away a large number of the variables, usually bad things, and that's a good thing. Neosys, a surgical robotics company smack in the heart of Wynwood, a bold and innovative company founded by Alon Moses.
The diversity in Miami that just doesn't exist at the same scale in terms of Boston and other current tech hubs. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for a better lifestyle. I enjoy the diversity of the culture and the diversity of the industry here. And when we see cool stuff around it, you know, there's that synergy and just kind of the synergy that happens when you're surrounded by an artist community and you're developing new technology. I think it really leads to great things.
And I tend to agree with that, because when I get off the plane in San Fran, when I'm out there for clients, man, when you walk out of SFO or even San Jose, you feel like you can invent anything.
Right, when you're surrounded by artists, you're surrounded by new tech, you're surrounded by a medical community that's not far with the medical campus in downtown. I think it's neat to have all those different factors.
So show me a little bit of the system.
Sure. So this is Yomi.
Yomi the robot. And I love that it has a name, because when you give something a name, you give it an identity. Alon and his team at Neosys have taken the bold step of putting a robot smack in the face of a patient who already does not want to be sitting in a dentist chair. And I gotta tell you, I'd rather be looking at Yomi than my hairy four-armed dentist with his human hands jammed in my mouth. There is a sexiness about her.
The surgeon doesn't have to rely on blindly free-handing the case, which you don't want them to do, but they don't patients don't have to worry that the robot's just taking over by itself. It's an assistive device. So this is a high-tech way for a surgeon to achieve the results that they want.
And this is not replacing a surgeon, it's actually augmenting their skills.
Exactly. So patients don't have to worry that they just have to trust a robot and close their eyes, push a button, and everything's just gonna go okay. They know the surgeon's always in control. So the robot's providing what robots are good at, which is dexterity and accuracy. But the surgeon's still there, participating in the surgery, providing what surgeons are good at, which is clinical judgment, human judgment during a case. So it's the best of both worlds. So patients can rely on both the surgeon having a human judgment, human in the loop, and the robot providing the kind of accuracy and dexterity that robots can provide.
So when I go to the dentist, it's already a scary as shit experience for me, right? And I'm sure people who go to the dentist have feelings like me, and now there's gonna be a robot on me. How has that been processed through the market?
Yeah, it's been surprisingly positive. So you're going to be scared of the drill and the dentist anyway. What this does is it adds confidence not only to the surgeon that they're going to get consistent results, but also for patients to understand that surgeons have state-of-the-art technology. They're going to be able to provide standard of care with the latest and greatest devices. And they get to see what's happening. So the surgeon can better explain the procedure to the patient. And with this system, through the software planning, they can show the patient, here's the model of your jaw, here's where we're going to put the implant, this is how we're going to restore your teeth. And then the patients, some of them are a little technically inclined. They actually like to watch the screen. So during the surgery, they're seeing everything progress.
So I'm seeing, it's like a little video game of going on inside while I'm having the procedure done.
Exactly.
We've got a robot. Doc is still in control. We're moving forward into a high-tech world. Is Yomi the future of dental surgery?
Absolutely. I think it becomes a critical device, platform technology for every dental office. You know, not only dental implants, but then broadly, every general dentist, oral surgeon, periodontist is going to have some critical functionality they'll find with Yomi.
So Wynwood, so many choices.
Wynwood, it's an exciting neighborhood, and we really wanted to incorporate ourselves into the neighborhood and the culture, which has a lot to do with artists and galleries. And so we got some graffiti artists to paint murals on the building just in time for Art Basel.
The graffiti artists were the one that paved the streets for us. So I thank every graffiti artist that have risked their lives, you know, because they do illegal stuff, you know. And so I thank them, and we all thank them because they paid for us, you know. So thank you.
Had there not been as much graffiti as me and my crew brought and other Miami people brought, those people wouldn't have been in Wynwood to start setting that whole area off had we not laid the foreground of it.
You know, graffiti is really making some people see red.
I sat down with Chrome, a street artist who is generally and understandably camera shy. After all, he had a $1 million bail on his head, and he was hunted by the Miami police for being a brazen and bold graffiti artist.
Bro, I got 1,001 stories. I have the worst luck on earth, bro.
Who is responsible for Crook Chrome?
Who is this street artist defacing everything in his or her path?
He was defacing buildings, cars, highway signs, or anything else that can have spray paint stick to it.
MSG, Miami style gods.
Like Bonnie and Clyde, Billy the Kid, and Sonny Wurtzik from Dog Day Afternoon. For some reason, we fall in love with these outlaws, and Chrome was no different. And now, he is somewhat of a celebrated early-day hero on the streets of Wynwood.
I've got to experience things that most people never got to because of art. They knew I was going to be something, a prophet of graffiti.
Were they right, though? Grab that
I don't want to sound
tag?
conceited, but a dedicated person. There's lots of great artists. I'm not a hater. I like to see art in every aspect and form, and I love everyone to do art, and I push everyone to not lose that childlike thing that society takes away from you. Like, the crowd's getting bigger and bigger, and more money's being pumped into it, and higher-end companies are coming in. So more opportunity, more growth, and more money, and it's beneficial because people are getting jobs, and it's more opportunity for artists and for the average person to make money, because the living wages down here and stuff are absurd compared to other places, you know?
What happened with Wynwood is that it was really interesting because there was a few key stakeholders, Goldman being one of them, and that culture just really, you know, rallied around promoting street art, you know, and promoting creativity and promoting innovation.
It's perfect for tech companies to come in, as long as they keep including the artists in the process. I think that is a happy medium there, that we keep our fingers crossed that it goes through.
I really believe when you merge art with technology, it's when you get the most interesting, innovative results. So that's where Wynwood is becoming the new epicenter for that merging.
And so the critical answer for this episode, too, are the robots coming to kill us or cure us?
Right,
in the future, it's a timeline, so.
Right. That's why we designed this as an assistive device. It's not Skynet. It's not coming to take over. It's not just push a button when you're sitting on the couch at home and let it run. It's meant to be side by side.
How do
I
I
won't
know
participate in that robot revolution.
You won't. Well, we won't be around, but how do I know there's not a Manchurian candidate in there somewhere?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, cybersecurity, all that stuff are critical concepts. You know, we joke now, but we want to make sure that the system is safe and assistive and still allows humans in the loop. So there's always going to be human judgment. for the kind of technology we're building.
All right, I'll take that as a maybe. Cool, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Engineers and artists tend to live out loud. They live to create. A majority of them do it at their own expense, physically, financially, and spiritually. But they are the courageous ones. Oscar Wilde said, "Give a man a mask and he will tell you the truth." That may be true for the average person, but that is not the case with artists and scientists. They seem to be just as fine showing up as they are.